Good morning. Today I want to share a story with you about my grandson, Shea. Shea just celebrated his 23rd birthday. And what's so special about Shea is the fact that he has Down syndrome. When Shea was born, our family was devastated. We didn't know anything about Down syndrome. We didn't know what it involved. We didn't know how he would do. And my son's worst fear was that people would tease Shea and that people would not include him in their activities. So he was very afraid for Shea and what Shea's life might look like later. My daughter was mainly concerned with Shea's medical issues. And I remember 2 or 3 days after they received the diagnosis, I went to visit in the NICU, and my daughter-in-law was sitting in a rocking chair, and the lights were dimmed. And she was rocking Shea and holding his little hand, and she had tears in her eyes. Well, of course, I got emotional as well. And so we had a good cry, but we also had a good conversation, and she shared some of her concerns, and we talked about them. So Shea was in the hospital for a while because of his medical conditions, and when he went home, it was with a lot of medical alert equipment because he had damage to his heart and his lung. But he recuperated, and the family was doing fine. They had Shea, and they had Shea's older sister, Grace, who was a couple years older. Well, a couple years later, my son and his wife had triplet boys. Yep, triplets. Thankfully, they were healthy, but all of a sudden, they were a family of 5. So I started volunteering on Friday night. I'd come over and take care of the kids and feed them, and they'd go out and have a nice dinner and kind of recuperate a little bit from all the activity. And Shea was in the hospital quite a bit at that time because of his medical issues, and so I'd often stay over to take care of the kids when she was at the hospital with Shea. And when my son was working, and I would do the dishes and the laundry and try to keep things manageable. But you can imagine the chaos. Well, as Shea got a little bit older, he went to school. And the schools were wonderful. They were very inclusive. They were zero tolerant. And the kids, he was streamlined into regular classes. And the kids learned to love him, and they were fine with it. The teachers did, I can't say enough, what a wonderful job they did educating the kids about what Shea's condition was and what it meant, and the fact that he was just like everybody else, and that he would like to be their friend. My son and his wife also met the organization Child Serve, and that was an organization that helped families of children with disabilities, whether it be Down syndrome or cerebral palsy or anything else. They had a lot of activities for the kids, field trips and games and programs. And for the parents, there was a lot of counseling and educating. And so it wasn't bad at all for my son and his wife once they met parents that had children with Down syndrome and all ages, so they knew what to expect. And I love being involved with the organization. As a volunteer, I went on field trips with them, and I was involved in the program, and I just had a great time. I even mentored a little boy by the name of Derek, who would spend Friday night with me and go home on Saturday because his family was in a bad place at that time. And I did that for about 1.5 years, and Derek just became a member of the family, and my grandchildren loved him. So moving forward, Shea got older, he went to a special school where they would teach him his life skills, pardon me. And he's done very well. So he graduated at the age of 18 and went into a special program to help him with his life skills. So he's had some experience working a job and being somewhat independent. At some point, he'll go into a group home, and there will be a host, and he will be with friends, and he will be independent and no longer living at home. Shea has a girlfriend. They've been together 2 or 3 years now, and it is so cute watching those two. But through ChildServe and other organizations, they are involved very actively in activities like bowling and movies, and they're with their peers, so they're perfectly comfortable and having a great life. The best part of this story is going back to the triplets. My son was so afraid that Shea would be bullied, and God brought him 3 big boys to take care of that problem. These boys are 18 now, and they're out of high school. They're the size of my son, so they're a little over 6 feet tall and very muscular, very athletic. So I would challenge anyone to try to make trouble for Shea or to tease him or to treat him badly. It would not end well. Shea is surrounded by love and support. He has been a joy for us. We've learned so much about how to be kind and empathetic and to just enjoy Shea for who he is and what he brings to the world. So if you have a child with a learning disability or any other type of disability, you know what I'm talking about. It's a lot of work, but they're a blessing. So for today, I hope you're having as wonderful of a day as I am. Take care.